What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. We're going to be talking about Reign of Kings in this video log, so it should be a short one. But essentially, I just wanted to touch base with everybody and make sure that everybody was on the same page before I put the Reign of Kings server back up. And so I've come up with a little bit of a rule set so that we can all hang out and we can all be on the same page, because over the course of the last week, it was really difficult to moderate the Reign of Kings server. Things just kept getting out of control. People really sort of just acting out, acting up, not understanding what the rules were. What I really learned is that when you say don't be a dick is the only rule, apparently Tom Dickery is very subjective, and so people all have their own definitions of what's dickish. And so having learned that the hard way, this is the first time I've ever run a server, and so obviously I'm learning lessons right now and figuring out exactly how things work when you interface with the internet. I've come up with a rule set that's going to be in place for the next time I put the server back up, which should be either today or tomorrow. I haven't decided which, and so at the time you see this video, it'll be up today or tomorrow. It's a little sketchy. I'm not sure when. I'm going to have to record at some point. And so first and foremost, rule number 1, there will be no hate speech, there will be no grumpiness, there will be no soggy, salty people up on the server. That's the first rule, is that just as far as that goes, I'd like to keep the Nerd Castle's private server as sort of a PG-13 place, just like it is here at the Nerd Castle. I want it to be like that. I want the server to be representative of the things that I like to identify here at YouTube. And so essentially just no hate speech, no anything like that. Over the course of 3 or 4 days, every time I logged on, there was somebody talking about something that was either over the line or essentially just making fun of a certain group of people or something like that. I don't want that to be the case. I've always wanted the Nerd Castle to be the sort of place where everybody can feel like they're welcome, no matter what they're into, or within reason, as long as you're not staring at the kindergarten through binoculars and shit like that. They're within reason. But anyways, no matter what subgenres of nerdery you're into, I want everybody to feel welcome and not like they're persecuted. And so that's going to be a zero tolerance thing. There'll be no hate speech. I'm not going to have people running around using sexual and racial slurs and stuff like that. It's just not acceptable. I'm just going to insta-ban you. There will be no warning. That's that. Rule number 2, there will be no attacking bases while the owner is offline. This is to avoid, this is one of my least favorite things about Rust and a lot of open world games, is that people will sit and just observe you until they see you log out, and then they'll just run up on your stuff. They'll wait until, they'll just sit there and go /list over and over again on the server until the house they want to hit is empty, and then they'll come in and raid your stuff when you're not trying to defend it. That's going to be a bannable offense. There will not be anybody attacking buildings or people's castles while they are offline. If you see somebody up inside their house building stuff and doing things, by all means, treb the hell out of them, attack, do whatever you're gonna do. Perfectly fine. Just give them a chance to defend their stuff, because it's frustrating to log back on after having to go deal with real life issues, because most of us here are adults and have real stuff to do. And so I can't stay on for more than an hour and a half at a time. Neither can most people, from what I've noticed. And so people wait for you to log off because they just try to wait you out so they don't have to fight you. And so that's obviously rule number 2. Rule number 3, sleepers are going to be dealt with. So if you're sleeping inside your house, this is kind of a weird rule. I'm not really sure how to deal. Actually, we'll come back to sleepers. Rule number 3, the server will be divided up into 3 realms with 3 guilds that control different areas of the map. It is against the rules and a bannable offense to attack anybody of your fashion, or of your faction. I guess not fashion. We're not going to be running around in ridiculous shirts or anything like that, walking up and down runways, but still, anybody of your faction, you're not allowed to attack people of your faction unless you're dueling or doing whatever it is you're doing to practice for the future. And so there will be 3 factions. I haven't quite gotten into Photoshop yet and divided up the map. I have the map downloaded. I'm going to fiddle with it tonight. By the time this video goes up, it'll be all edited in, and we'll talk about that for a little bit. You can't attack your own faction, but you can KOS the other faction. This serves as a counterbalance to sort of the 100% versus 100% thing that's been going on recently, where everybody KOSs everybody on site. And so in order to break that down a little bit, you can assume that if you have 3 factions, that means that if any one faction gets larger than the other 2 and gets bigger, then the other 2 factions can ally against them and fight them together. I'm not against having random little diplomatic meetings and stuff and ceasefires and things of that nature in order to get stuff done. And then B, it divides the number of people that are going to attack you on site. And so if there's 25 people on the server, 8 people per guild, that means that ostensibly there's only 2/3 of the server that are going to attack you when they see you. So at least you're protected from a certain group of people. Additionally, it creates social ties between people so that you can put your crests together, you can build your bases together, you can roam around together and guard each other while you farm resources and stuff like that. It serves as sort of a social network on the game for people that might be playing by themselves. And additionally, it inserts a little bit of structure to the game so that you know who the enemy is. Now, to denote this, people are required to use face paint on their characters that will be the color of your faction. And so there's going to be a blue faction, a red faction, and a green faction. And those are going to be the 3. Maybe I might make the red one purple. I don't know. And those are going to be the 3 factions. We're going to have people paint their faces so that you can identify on site what faction they're from, unless they're wearing a helmet, obviously. I never wear a helmet because, meh, I don't like the way... I like to have my locks flowing in the breeze while I commit my Highlanderish murder. But anyways, that's going to be the 3rd rule right there. As far as sleepers go, if somebody's sleeping, like, out in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of the resource valley, go ahead and kill them. Like, there's nothing I can really do about that. They slept in a bad spot, and it's kind of their fault. I would say that the resource valley is more than likely, by the time I get the map done, it's going to be off limits for building, though. Essentially, what I'd like to do is I'd like to have a strip down the center of the map that's the PvP zone where all the resources are, and then the outlying areas are going to be divided up between the factions. And then additionally, for the people that don't want to be like PvP enabled, they're going to be the gray faction, and I'm going to give them a section of the map that's going to be sort of like Switzerland, where you can't blow up their buildings. They're just off limits entirely. Now, what they can do is they can build and they can jump in on, like, when they're in the PvP fields, gathering resources, you're allowed to attack them and they're allowed to attack you. But like for the people that just want to build bases and not be messed with, I'm trying to come up with some kind of compromise for them too. And so if I find that everybody's building in the gray zone and then going out to fight, then I'll kind of like move the rules around. But I'm hoping people will be interested in kind of the tri-factional combat, a la Planet Side or whatever. And so right now, that's what I'm working with. I feel like this server could be pretty cool. This is going to be the only video for Reign of Kings that I'm going to put up today. The reason being is that I want everybody that's interested in the series, I want everybody that's going to be playing on the server with the information to have no excuse, so that they can just be like, this video is here. It was our Reign of Kings video for the day. People that are interested in the series can check it out, and when they get on the server, they will know the rules. But ultimately, when there's going to be infractions and kind of people like stepping on toes and messing with the rules, I'm just going to link them to the video and be like, look, I put up the video, I mean, sorry, and that's that. And so obviously I think there needs to be a little bit of structure. I was surprised how many servers had the no attacking when the person's offline rule. I started talking to other people that run private servers like RP style and stuff like that, and I think we've got a pretty good balance right now of both PvP rule sets and PvE rule sets. So right now, this is where I'm going to cut off the video. I'm going to put the map up on the screen right now while I talk. You'll see that I've got everything divided up between the green faction, the red faction, and the purple faction. And additionally, on the islands and the outskirting areas, that's going to be for the gray faction. You'll note that in the central area, the resource valley, if you build your base there, you are an untouchable, essentially. You are a leper, and everybody is allowed to attack you because you're building in the prime real estate. And then ultimately what I'm going to try and work this into eventually is when you're looking at the map right now, these areas are subject to change later on. And so ultimately I want to come up with sort of like conquest rule sets where people can fight with each other and people can actually expand and contract their boundaries. They can fight over the crown so that they can set the taxes in order to make things work. I would recommend that nobody set the taxes higher than 15% if their faction takes over. I wish that there were developer controls in place to where you could actually absolve certain people of taxes so that if your faction controlled the crown, they would actually be protected from the taxes, and then you'd be taxing the hell out of the other factions so that they would actually have cause to come, a casus belli essentially, to come out and attack you. But these are just some of the thoughts that I'm having. If you wanted to look at the map a little bit more, feel free to pause, but this is going to be our only Reign of Kings video for the day. I hope that this helped to elucidate kind of the way things are going to work on the new server. If you have ideas, put them down below. I'm going to have another video up the next day that's kind of just like a time pass video where we hang out and we farm for a little bit, and I'm going to look at the comments from there for people that want adjustments to the rule sets and things like that. But still, my name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerd Castle for, I guess, our Reign of Kings server update. It'll be back up either today or tomorrow. Pay attention to the Facebook if you wanted to get the new password so that you can jump on and play the game. If it gets really, really popular and they optimize the game a little bit better, I think we'll probably go through and increase the player cap to 40. For right now, if you wanted to donate to help keep the server up and running, I don't normally do this, but Patreon's down below, as well as the donation site that I use for twitch.tv, just in case people wanted to help out with that. So anyways, I will see you all next, I guess tomorrow actually, the next day I suppose. How you do everybody, I'll see you next time.